You can have level 5 abundance and never make more than 40 grand a year.
Absolutely.
That blows people away. You
So,
can have financial abundance on making 40 grand a year if you choose to.
and that kind of goes to the argument of the whole notion of this focus on you need the $1 million. Yes, I understand it sells books, it sells conferences.
Yep.
I understand, but that I don't want $1 million. I want financial freedom.
One of the things I love to do is bring new faces and new voices to the channel. One of the things we're going to talk today is the author of Just Buy a Duplex, Mr. Bill Huff. Bill, love the idea, love the topic. Let's talk about it. Just buy a duplex. What's the deal?
Yeah, well, I personally, as an investor, that's what I've been investing in since roughly 2012, and just it's a great niche investment market, but it's also a great market for and a solution for affordable housing. I think it's a great place to start for young adults. I think it's awesome.
Yeah. I think the idea of buying a duplex, it's a great idea, right? You also get to test being a landlord. Um, it gets to help with shelter or, shelter costs. You get to lower your shelter costs, which X taxes is the large expense for most people. So let's actually go back. Let's rewind and give everybody your kind of resume. So who is Bill Huff? What do you do? What you've been doing? You started in 2012, but give us the resume.
Yeah, so the short version is grew up in the Bay Area like yourself. From the Bay Area, left there when I was 18 to go into the Air Force. Um, did my Air Force time, did my college time, and then 2008, right? Which I know that impacted you. Well, I had the same impact on me. So, for me, uh, losing, 50% of my 401k at the time,
Yeah,
you know,
201ks were a real thing.
well, you looking back, it's almost a blessing because it woke me up. And so from that point on, I said, okay, I need to take control. That's just me. It's not everyone doesn't need to go that path, but that's kind of the path that I thought. I said, this is if I'm going to go down, I'm going to go on because of
Yeah,
my own doing, so to speak, right?
I love that. If I'm going to lose, I'm going to lose because I made the choices, not because some Wall Street banker made some choices. I love that.
Absolutely, absolutely. So that kind of around that time, is when I started getting into real estate. Had a good mentor that was beating it into my brain um, during those years. And so our first investment was in 2009, actually, a condo.
Mhm.
And, I didn't understand my numbers, but it was actually cash flow negative. But that was a good
Oh,
thing, again, because
alligator.
it forced you to understand, right? If
Yeah.
it had gone perfectly, then, that would have. So from there, and as I mentioned, in 2012, I found residential multifamily,
Gotcha.
and that has been pretty much where I've been since, the last 10 plus years.
Yeah. So that deal in 2012, was that just a standard duplex or did you move into one of the units and really start house hacking?
No, that was actually we bought two duplexes side by side,
Oh,
and those
nice.
were strictly investment
Okay.
property.
And now these were you had at this point moved to Texas. You're in Texas in 2012?
Correct. So by the time I started all this, I had by this point I'm separated from the Air Force and moved on, with my professional career. I'm a software engineer by career, uh, and so yeah, by this point I'm established in Texas
Okay.
and started, building the portfolio.
Now where Texas is a huge state. Are we talking Dallas, Austin, San Antonio? Where are we at roughly?
Right, right. So we're in San Antonio.
Okay.
Um, I've invest primarily in the San Antonio area, but um, sorry about the screen there.
It's okay.
Um, all over Texas is where I focus. I'm an in-state investor. I have not ventured outside of the state, other than our we do have a international property out of the country, but not in other states at this point.
Gotcha, gotcha. One one of the things I often hear from folks that are looking for, the kind of small residentials, the 2 through 4s is sometimes you hear from folks that there's just not a lot of supply, right? Sometimes if you're in the older kind of northeast part of our country, they weren't around, they didn't build as many of them. I've been to Texas, actually San Antonio. Funny story. Olivia and I don't think I've told this story. If I have, it's only been once or twice. 2006, Olivia and I start doing all these 1031 exchanges. Uh, we we fly out to Texas. We look at Austin, Dallas, San Antonio. I think we looked at Denver, a couple other markets. San Antonio was actually the only market we wrote an offer. We
Hmm.
saw a cul-de-sac. I want to say it was 8 fourplexes. It might have been 6. It probably was 6 fourplexes. There was a seller that was we deemed that was in trouble that needed out. So that was the only actual offer we wrote. Um, but yeah, it didn't go anywhere. But yeah, so other than San Antonio was close to being somewhere we moved some of our capital to. But the one thing I remember about San Antonio, this, all those cracks in the stucco, they called them beauty marks. Yeah, that was new to a California investor.
Well, yeah, yeah. You'll see. So here, well, even in Dallas and Houston, the residential multifamily is pretty strong.
Mhm,
It's definitely here in San Antonio, you'll see, like most cities, there's a kind of a gap in the construction.
mhm,
Um, s- just kind of to fast forward a few years. So 2015 was when we started to then go into a new construction,
hmm.
residential multifamily, and that's
Oh
really
wow.
that's kind of our focus.
So
Um,
help me understand the price point. So your 2012 purchase, do you remember what that was roughly?
oh my goodness, I need to have all that data on me. I don't. I'd have to
Okay,
remember.
that's
But
okay.
I can tell you, uh, when we purchased our first fourplex in 2015, so this is a new
Mhm,
construction
mhm.
fourplex, they were going for 450 to 475
Okay.
in
Now,
2015.
so how are these kind of configured? If they're 450 grand, San Antonio 2015, what are these like? These got to be what, 3 bedroom, 2 bath units? They got to be pretty big, I'm guessing.
Yes, sir. So typically, especially here in San Antonio, the residential multifamily market is pretty much townhomes stuck
Mm,
together that share the common
yeah,
wall.
common
So
wall.
they all have the 3 bedroom, 2.5 bathroom, bedrooms upstairs, half bathroom downstairs, living room, dining room, backyard. So pretty much the standard, builders
Standard
have the
layout.
different variations, but that's pretty much the standard layout with square footage between, I'd say, 1,200 to 1,500 per unit.
Yeah. One of the things that I didn't see in San Antonio, and again, we were only there 3 or 4 days, is Um, I didn't really see small multifamilies. What do I mean by that? I mean, like the 1 bedroom, 1 bath, the 600 square foot version. That is something that's pretty prevalent, at least where, we started investing in the Central Valley of California. Everything there seemed to be at least 3 bedrooms, multiple bathrooms. So it was definitely more, I guess, family oriented, right? Larger families.
Yes,
Also,
sir.
a lot of the construction was a heck of a lot newer, right? There wasn't 1950s builds, at least that I saw. So it definitely seems like a focus for the city that to build more and more multifamilies. They seem to be almost everywhere.
Yeah, yeah, and to your point, I don't think San Antonio is the market is ready for the smaller, kind of that micro potential or
Right.
studio. That's more, I almost invested in a building in Oakland,
Hmm.
which was actually it was with uh, the big investor out of Seattle, Thatch.
Thatch knew in, yeah. He did some studios in Oakland. Yeah.
Yes, yeah, I was looking at that project of being an investor. It was a micro micro apartment building. You're
Yeah,
talking,
like 300 square feet. It was tiny.
yes, yeah, and with a lot of common space.
Mhm.
But that so that product really, this is not San Antonio at this point is not the market
No,
for
you
the
got a lot more
product.
land. Use it.
Yeah,
Use it to your advantage, right?
yeah,
So
absolutely,
makes total
absolutely.
sense. And again, as an investor, again, as somebody who owns the smaller units, I'll tell you right now, having a 3-2 is a lot better than a 1-1. Why is that? Because when you really make roots and you get kids in school systems and all of that, they get friends and family, you're it's sticky. You don't want to move.
Right,
Um, However, if you're in a 1-1 or heaven forbid a studio, you're one relationship away from having a move, right? Boyfriend, girlfriend stuff, people move all the time. So the one thing I will say as a kind of a caveat to that is you can also, if you have a studio or a 1-1, rent to retirees, right? Folks on fixed income. They very rarely move. So it's just, things you learn as you kind of are in the business for a long time. So when you found small multifamilies, um, writing a book, right? Buy a duplex. As somebody who's written a couple of books, I know that's a quite a task. So I got to ask, what inspired you to write the book? Because that's where it always starts. Why did you write Just Buy a Duplex?
yeah. So it was to me long overdue. I thought, it made sense for me to capture what I've been doing. This is not some theory this is what I've been doing for the last decade plus. So I thought it made sense to highlight the market. It's a niche market. Um, a lot of investors tend to gravitate towards the apartment buildings.
Bigger is better, man. Bigger is better, Bill. Come on. You've
That's
heard
that
that.
is that is a great discussion in itself
Yeah.
because there are pros and cons to both. But if you want to learn, the residential multifamily market is a great place to learn. If you don't want
Uh,
to learn and you want to be a passive investor, maybe a syndication may be better. Um,
yeah, I own a lot of this stuff, and I will tell you, bigger is better sometimes, right? Bigger is better is a great marketing tool. I will tell you, the bigger the name, the lower the return. Back to your earlier point about, hey, if I'm going to lose, I'm going to lose on my own. Um, I feel the very much the same way about syndications, right? If I'm going to bust out in real estate, I'm going to do it because I lost money. I made decisions. I personally could not turn my money over to someone else and just go, oh, go nuts, go buy a 3 cap and let's hope it works out. There's no chance I'm doing something like that.
so I have even on the residential multifamily market, I do partnerships and things of
Mhm,
that nature. So you can still do that in this market.
mhm.
And so it has its pros and cons. I like it. It's so flexible. You can do, potentially short-term rentals, mid-term rentals, furnished rentals. Um, Not everyone wants to be in an apartment box, is
No.
what I call it.
Yeah.
They have backyards, these units
Mhm.
have garages. It's essentially a home. And
Yep.
I think it's a great product for families.
No,
Um,
I agree.
so yeah,
So,
I'm a big proponent.
oh no, I know. Writing the book's a great thing. So again, you get inspired. I think you're right. It's a missing piece. I've told people my greatest financial miss was not doing something like this when I was 20. Right? I talk about a fourplex just because it's the largest you can get, but duplex would have been better than nothing. Um, just to get in the game, right?
Yeah,
Get in with 3.5%, 5% down, have somebody else lower your shelter costs. I mean, it didn't, dude, it didn't even dawn on me until I was like 32 or 33 to buy a multifamily. I was like, nope, just buy a house, just buy a house. And there's some economies with duplexes, tris, and quads, and not to mention 30-year fixed rate financing, which is just a huge home run.
FHA.
FHA, baby.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
yeah,
And
yeah.
now
It's
with fourplexes, you get away with 5% down, right?
absolutely,
Yeah.
and it's as I say, this is not our parents' economy anymore. So the direct line of doing what they did in terms of, oh, I get married and I need to go buy a house. Well, you may need to apply a different strategy. And that strategy may involve getting a duplex first, get the cost sharing of your tenant to pay your asset, to help
Yep.
cost share your asset with the intent to eventually buy a single family home down the road.
Yeah, I mean, just I'll just paint this vision, right? This is Michael Zuber's vision if he could rewind the clock and repeat being 20 years old. Buy a fourplex at 20, house hack. Move out, buy another one at 22. Buy another one at 24. Buy another one at 26, another one at 28, retire at 30.
You and I are very close in age, I believe, and so yeah, I would have done the same thing, once I finally woke up, so to speak, right?
Yeah. Yeah. Unfortunately, I didn't wake up until I was 31. But yeah, if I could rewind the clock, know what I know now, it wouldn't even be funny. I mean, I'd be retired at 30 with, I don't know, 20 units. The portfolio would have been the Silicon Valley, which goes nuts the next
Oh
40
my
years.
goodness.
Could you imagine? I mean,
So just this, and then on top of that, your pay down since then? Oh
oh,
my
dude,
goodness.
come
Yeah.
on. Just come on. It's crazy. It's crazy. So, hey, before we move on from the book, where could somebody go get this amazing book?
Yeah, absolutely. So I'm selling them on our website, and that's at grouphuff.com, GROUPHUFF.com. Go to the shop and you can pick it up.
One of the things I love about following you is you have these great tweets. Again, it's Huff Real Estate Group is your handle, I guess. Is that right? Is that the handle?
Yes, sir.
No, it's Group Huff. Group Huff is it's at Group Huff, but the name is Huff Real Estate Group. You put out something 3 hours ago talking about the 5 levels of financial security. Why don't you highlight what those are? Because again, I think a lot of folks just think there's three.
Yeah, this is a people get emotionally charged here, but my thought, and this is again from years of learning and getting beat over the head.
Mhm,
The model of rich, middle class, and poor is outdated,
mhm.
and quite honestly, is arbitrary.
Yep.
The numbers change based on where we're at, in terms of inflation. So this model that I'm laying out, lays out a model a framework essentially that is measurable. And it's measurable based on not just an arbitrary definition, but the connections to your financial statements. That's
Love
really
that.
what should
That's
be
the key.
measured.
Mhm,
And so the you'll see in there the model has, financial security, which is, as in the tweet I mentioned, that's the stage at, Wall Street and
mhm,
financial advisors, and the whole financial industry is focused on that group of people. Obviously, for the obvious reasons, they're in a position to invest and have the resources to pay these people.
mhm.
Um, you don't see the same thing with people in financial survival mode, because they don't have the resources. So
Right.
it allows you to start to see patterns in the way people think. And actually, the bigger thing is it ties you to your focus.
Mhm.
And again, going back to what we said earlier, if I'd known this in this model 20 years ago, it'd be a different conversation.
No,
Uh,
absolutely. Yeah, the 5 levels, just so folks have it, starts level 1, poverty, level 2, survival, level 3, security, level 4, freedom, and level 5, abundance. When I look at this, and I've seen your writings on this, it really goes back. I love it because it ties it back to the individual. It's not just some arbitrary poor, middle class, rich. It's like, no, if you are in the Silicon Valley or Manhattan, your numbers will be different than somebody in, Texas, right? In San Antonio, where you are. Um, it really also, to me, relies on choices. One of the things I am a huge component or a proponent of is extreme ownership. You make decisions,
yes,
and decisions have consequences. If you sign up for a credit card and blow it out on an amazing trip that now you're paying 20% on, that's on you. Nobody made you do that. If you decide to do, buy like one of my financial decisions just to look in the mirror, I got my first full-time job. I think I was 24 or 25 after graduating college, maybe 23. I think I was 24. And I think I made 28 grand, 29 grand, something sub 30, full-time job. And I went out and bought almost a $50,000 car. Why? Because the car dealership said I could afford it. There's no way in hell I should have bought that car. I mean, come
right.
on. That was one of the most financially stupid things I ever did. Um, But again, I made that choice. Once I signed that, I owned that. I had that liability for, I don't know, 5 years, whatever it was to pay it off. If you go to school, get some college debt, and you don't have a plan for your education, that's on you. Nobody made you do that. Own those decisions. That's why I love this stack. That's why I love talking money. And again, the other thing I love about this, and I got this from the cash flow game, Robert Kiyosaki, is your you can retire on a very low end. You could be abundant, right? Level 5. Sorry, my phone screen just went off. You can have level 5 abundance and never make more than 40 grand a year.
Absolutely.
That blows people away. You
So,
can have financial abundance on making 40 grand a year if you choose to.
and that kind of goes to the argument of the whole notion of this focus on you need the $1 million. Yes, I understand it sells books, it sells conferences.
Yep.
I understand, but that I don't want $1 million. I want financial freedom. Yes,
Yeah.
it's a wordplay, but it's the reality. Like you said,
No, I fight it all the time, man. I hate these people that talk net worth. Oh, net worth, net worth. No, dummy. Give me, $8,000 a month in free cash flow, a net worth of 400 grand, but my expenses are 2,500. I win
right, all day long.
all day long.
Yeah,
That's the problem.
yeah. So, I agree, and yes, you know, during that go back to 2007, 8, when I lost half my 401k. Yes, I did read Rich Dad Poor Dad at that time, and that was, man, that was a huge influence in helping to shift my thinking at that time. I actually read that on a flight to Hawaii, and that was probably the shortest flight I ever had over there, because
Yeah.
I did not. I said, let me just read a chapter, and
Yeah. You just
yeah,
couldn't put it down, right?
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah. Yeah. I've read that book, no doubt, 50 times. And it's funny. It's not a how-to book, but this is embarrassing. The book's not particularly well written, certainly because I got like one of the first versions. It had misspellings and it's been cleaned up since then.
right.
But the amount of light bulb moments that went off, like seemingly every chapter was, it's still wild for me to think about that book, that purple book changed my life. It's wild.
And that's, so just think, all that whole industry has been trying to write a similar book
Yeah.
ever since.
Yeah.
But yeah, yeah.
That's pretty funny. It's pretty funny. So what does your portfolio look like today? Right? You're 10, 12 years into this business. Small to multis work. You like new construction. What's Bill's portfolio looking like today, roughly?
So, the reality is I've had ups and downs just like most people. So, I'll celebrate my L's along with my W's. And
Yep.
that's what I accept. That's what I accepted when I went into this. So right now we have what I hate giving out numbers actually, but we have a right now our portfolio is primarily duplexes.
Sure.
We have, and then in addition to that, we have, as I mentioned, international property, and then another uh, uh, beachfront property.
Oh, nice. In
Yeah,
Texas somewhere?
yes, sir. Yep, yep.
So
And
is that just curious, is that like a short-term rental or is it just a family vacation spot or
at this particular time, it's being used as a short-term rental.
all right.
Yeah,
Yeah,
so that's
I'm just curious because you own both. I've never done a short-term rental, so silly questions. When I look at short-term rentals and I compare them to long-term rentals, it's a different business, right? Because you're in the hospitality business, but maybe you outsource that. So I don't know, but it does
that's
seem a lot more work, I think.
even if you outsource it to a property manager, I have this saying that says you have to manage the property manager still.
Oh yeah, no doubt. Yeah.
And a lot of the short-term property management companies charge a premium.
Yeah,
And
they
yeah,
want
so
their pound of flesh for sure.
yeah, so that's a whole different conversation. But at this time, it's being used as a short-term rental.
Got it. Very, very cool. What are some things that you would recommend? If you're watching this, obviously go get the book. But what are some closing thoughts for folks? Because again, it's hard today. I actually think the idea of a 2 through 4s in today's market makes it easier, right? Because houses, given interest rates, prices are so higher. Maybe it makes more sense to get a small multifamily. In fact, it might be the best time to kind of evaluate that. But what are some words of wisdom or advice you have for folks starting today?
Yeah, I mean, I just think that don't don't do what your parents did. It's a different economy, and that
Mm,
also applies to real estate. Um, you may not be able to get a single family home, but that's okay.
yeah, it's not your forever home. Your first purchase is not supposed to be your forever home. That's not how it
Right.
works.
Right. So maybe consider getting a duplex. Um, you're not only in with the intent to eventually get to a single family home,
Right.
but you buy an asset that you can later backfill with a tenant. Just let that go, and that asset in time will grow. So
Yep.
it's so just I just want people to think and don't, they don't have to necessarily follow what their parents did or what they see
Mm,
other people doing. Sometimes you have to take an alternate route to get to your true
yeah.
goal.
Yeah, I just, again, if you're starting out today, I mean, I tell people all the time, she kind of like, I think we already talked about it. If I could do it again starting at 20, it'd be a 10-year journey to 30. I'd own somewhere between 12 and 20 units and I'd be done.
Yes.
I'd be done. It is that simple. And frankly, it doesn't matter if you're 40 or 50, the same story applies. If I had to do it again, I would take I would live in a fourplex and I would say, honey, we're going to move a couple of times. And in a decade, we're done. I think
Yes.
that's a good trade-off.
That so you, and I was gonna write another ebook called Investing in Real Estate After 50.
Mm,
That's another conversation that I think we should have because
sure. Let's do it.
the mindset shifts when you get to a certain age and you enter a stabilization
Mhm.
sustainment when versus being aggressive, or so
Sure.
moving
Yeah, you have
forward.
you have less time, right? You have less time to fix errors over 50 than 20. It's how math works.
Right, right, right. But the question is, should you just take the foot off the gas, or should you at least continue moving forward? And
No, I
that's
mean,
more.
it depends on where you are, right? Again, if you happen to start earlier, you can just be in preservation mode. But I think one of the things that's very interesting that you touched on was you had an epiphany. You had a light bulb moment when your 401k turned into 201k. For some of us, that doesn't occur till we're 42,
Right.
right? Whenever that happens for you, whenever you realize that working the 40-40 life, 40 hours for 40 years to live on 40% is not for you, whenever that happens, getting a small multifamily, sacrificing a little bit, moving into that, it's 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 not a bad plan if you can do it.
Yeah, and not everyone will want, another thing I realize is not everyone wants to be in control of their finances, quite honestly. And that's
Well,
okay. That's okay.
yeah,
Yeah, I mean,
yeah,
for some, but for me, I didn't want that. If
yeah.
I'm going to go down, like we said, it's, I'll accept.
I'll accept full responsibility, but it's gonna be mine.
It's going to be on me. Absolutely.
Yeah, I love that. I love that. Well, Bill, where should people reach out to you, follow you? Where should we send them?
Yeah, yeah. Just again, just go to group dot group. Wow, I can't even say my website. So grouphuff.com. That's, I have ebooks, and I'm working on a couple courses that
Mhm.
kind of expand on those ebooks a little bit more. Those are in development at this time. But yeah, yeah, just please hit me up. On as on X and Facebook and Instagram and all the accounts. Um, yeah, I'd like to hear what people have to think about the financial stages, mindset stages, and
Yeah,
definitely check out the ebook.
there you go, folks. Just buy a duplex. Bill, have an amazing day. Thanks for doing what you do. You're amazing. Take care.
You too. Have a good one.
Thanks.
Bye.